Sorry to keep you guys waiting. I was visiting with a Kevin Hull, professor here on campus, his sports media class, trying to help the next generation of you guys as well. So enjoyed visiting with them. Thanks to Kevin for the opportunity to visit with his class and some great questions that they had as well. Appreciate all of you being here today. Awesome opportunity to bring Shawn Elliott back to Columbia, someone that I have a ton of respect for as a person, as a coach, recruiter. Got very close with him when he came here at South Carolina as an assistant coach when I was here with Coach Spurrier. Saw the impact that he made on our program, particularly on the offensive line when he came in as an assistant coach, and enjoyed our time together. And then someone that I've kept in touch with since then and have a ton of respect for what he did as an assistant coach before he got to South Carolina at App, what he did when he was here, and then obviously what he's done at Georgia State since he's been there as the head coach as well. I'm always trying to make our program better, and he makes our program better. He, along with the other assistant coaches that we've hired since January as well, couldn't be more excited about the staff that we've put together, thanks to our administration, Dr. Amaritas, come on, Jordan, Dr. Amaritas, Coach Tanner, Chance Miller there as well for the opportunity that they gave us to bring these guys here to Columbia. And there's no question that, since the end of the season, we're better as a team and as a program. The players that we have in this program, coaches, staff, and really excited about finishing up our winter workouts here over the next couple of weeks, and then spring break for our guys, and then getting cranked up with spring practice here in the middle of March. So any questions? I know you guys are eager to hear from Shawn, but anything from me before we bring him up? Obviously not. Easiest press conference ever. So, well, again, when I was looking at this position, it was something that, how can we be better? Who makes us better? And there's no question that Shawn Elliott makes us better in a lot of ways, on and off the field, and certainly has been very well received. We were at a clinic in Myrtle Beach over the weekend, Friday and Saturday. Our coaches were there, and can't tell you how many high school coaches came up to me on Friday night. So excited about this guy being back in the state of South Carolina, back here in Columbia where he belongs, and he's already made an impact on our team and with our players, and can't wait to see where we go here going forward. So please help me welcome back Coach Shawn Elliott.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Coach Beamer, Coach Tanner, Chance. Certainly an awesome opportunity to be back here in Columbia, South Carolina, with the University of South Carolina. It's, to be honest with you, it almost seems like I haven't left. From afar and then from a near also, I've always kept up with the University of South Carolina, how they were doing in so many different ways. I believe everyone knows here that my family still resides here in Columbia, so the transition from Atlanta back here to Columbia was very, very easy. When this position became available, I targeted. I mean, I reached out and wanted them to know that this was something that I wanted to do for many reasons, but ultimately, I think for my family, the most important people in my life live here in the state of South Carolina, in the Columbia area. My parents are still in Camden, and it was just a move that I wanted to pursue, and very fortunate that I had the opportunity to be back. I'm looking forward to making an impact here on the University of South Carolina, their players, their coaches, everyone involved. I know I have the passion, and I'm here to inspire and motivate and do everything I can to put this program right where it needs to be, and that's at the top of the SEC in the country. And ultimately, that's what my goal is. As I was looking and coming back here, I started thinking, about really personal goals, to be honest with you, and it really doesn't have a whole lot to do with football. I said, man, if I can coach at the University of South Carolina, and I've got my son, he's a high school football player at AC Flora. I said, if for whatever reason he can develop into a college football player and have the ability to come and play for the University of South Carolina, and my daughter, she's a competitive cheerleader at AC Flora and does a phenomenal job. She's won multiple state championships. I said, but one day, if I could be coaching on that sideline, potentially coaching my son at the University of South Carolina, and my daughter cheering on that sideline, I said that's a dream come true. And I have no idea if that's the case, but honestly, that would be something for me as a person and a family man and a dad, and just unbelievable experience. But love the opportunity to be here. Can't wait to get started. Been started a couple days now, and looking forward to many more days ahead.
Shawn, welcome back.
Hey, David, thank you.
Switching over to tight ends, what's that challenge like? I know obviously it's a shorter group of people or smaller group of people, but what's been the biggest challenge of switching from O-line so many years to tight ends?
Well, I think you're just involved in so much more of the passing game, the route combinations, the concepts, that's one thing. I'm not going to call it a challenge because I've been around football my entire life, and I actually started my offensive coaching career coaching the tight ends at Appalachian State. And loved every minute of it. I think as a tight ends coach, it really makes you involved in everything through the course of the offense. Your throw game, your run game, you're just so much more involved in everything that they do offensively. I've always said, if you ultimately want to be one of the greatest coordinators, you got to have that concept, the pass and run game, and understand the combination and how it works together, and play calls and what sets up this, and this gives me the ability to be really back in that fold. And as a head football coach, I always had kind of the responsibility of overseeing all position coaches, and I would kind of go over there and throw some of my time in with the tight ends, the O-line, the running backs, the quarterbacks, and so I've had to experience all of that as the head coach.
Hey, Coach Elmer Granahan, Big Spur, welcome back.
How you doing? Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Obviously, there was a lot of national conversation when you made the move, and with all that comes with college football coaching these days and all that general stuff. Can you address just that conversation and sort of what your take on maybe that aspect of it was and leading to you coming back?
You're going to have to fill me in on that conversation. I haven't had that conversation.
Yeah, sorry. As far as, being a coach at a place like Georgia State when you have to fight to keep your players.
If you're talking about, the NIL and retaining players and not getting, quote unquote poached, and, I think we lost, and I'm not certain on this, but I think we lost 22 players at Georgia State to Power 5 programs over the last 2 years, or the last 3 years, and that's a huge amount. They were all really, really good football players, but that had no effect on me wanting to come back to the University of South Carolina or take this job. I'm never a person that runs from a problem. I've always found a solution on how to fix it. So that didn't have any effect. Like I said, the most important people in my life live here in the state of South Carolina, especially here in the Columbia area. And ultimately, that is what I wanted in my life, and I needed to have that back in my life.
Hey, Shawn, welcome back.
Thank
Appreciate you doing this for us. What have you learned over these last 7 years as a head coach that you're going to be able to bring back? And is head coaching after possibly your son and daughter are here at South Carolina doing what they're doing and you're here, is head coaching something you might want to experience again?
To answer your first question, what do you learn as a head football coach? At Georgia State, it was probably much different than it is here at the University of South Carolina. You wore a lot of hats. You had to be a position coach. You had to coach special teams. You had to be involved in everything. We only had a staff of about, really, myself, 10 assistant coaches, 5 GAs, and a couple other support personnel. We didn't have a whole lot. So, it was kind of like being back at App State in the early years. You had to do more than what was expected. You had to go out and I would take trash out. I would vacuum. I would do everything you can imagine in being a head coach. But truly, the number one thing I think I'll bring back is just ultimately how you involve yourself with the total team. I mean, from the long snapper to the punter to the quarterback to the secondary to your linebackers. I mean, how do you fit in all their lives? And that was something I had to find out. How do you do? What conversations do you start? My head coach at Appalachian State, Jerry Moore, he taught me probably the most important thing, and he said always keep a big old box of candy or a big old jar of candy in your office, gum, chocolate, whatever it is. And that way it's going to bring everybody into your office. And once the word gets out that you've got the candy in your office, then they start filing in on a daily basis. So I did that, and he was exactly right. And so I started conversations with a different positional player each and every day. Just understood what type of night they may have had, what type of situation they were in, what type of mood they were in, and it just led to a lot of different conversations. Do I ever see myself being a head football coach? I haven't even thought about it. I'm thrilled to be here as the tight end coach. If I can end my career right here coaching the tight ends at the University of South Carolina, and trust me, I've got a long way to go. I'm still only 30 years old, so I've got a hell of a long career ahead of me. Then I'm thrilled to death. But ultimately, I'm as excited today being here as the tight end coach at the University of South Carolina as I was when they named me the tight end coach at Appalachian State, or the offensive line coach at Appalachian State, or the day I walked in here to coach the offensive line at the University of South Carolina. This is a fantastic day. I'm thrilled to death. I couldn't be more excited to be here. And ultimately, I'm here to do one thing, and that's to make this football program better in every aspect of it.
Hey, Shawn, welcome back home.
Thanks, Rick.
Just want to know, what's the favorite candy that you keep in your office?
I had gum and blow pops, so those guys would they'd just file in. But yeah, we had to keep it stocked.
And from a personal standpoint, how much easier or how much more relieved are you going to be coaching now that you don't have that separation and distance between you and your family, and you don't have to worry so much about missing important family events?
Well, if last night's sleep was any indication, I went to bed. It was right around 10:15, and I didn't wake up until about 5:15 this morning. And I slept the entire night through. And it was just, it's different. I don't know if you've ever been separated from your family or not. And trust me, and I want everybody to know, we made that decision to leave our family here in Columbia and go through the difficulties and sacrifices that you have. But just being back here, it's incredible. The relief, knowing that, whether or not I get to look at or speak to them before they go to school, but knowing they're going to be home at night and I'm going to walk in that door and the same thing. And, there's situations at home that you got to take care of. The heat went out, I think, Thursday night when I got back, and my wife says, "You're dealing with that. I've dealt with it for the last 7 years. It's time for you to call somebody." But it's just a really nice feeling.
Hey, Shawn, Jack Velcher, GamecockCentral.com. First off, welcome back to Columbia.
Thank
you. There's been a lot of former players that you coached, like Marcus Lattimore, Connor Shaw, and then just even the fans super stoked about you coming back to Columbia. First off, what does that mean to you? And this is kind of a two-parter question, but when did you kind of know that maybe, you had the idea of, hey, maybe I can come back and, coach here in some capacity? And I guess just what does it mean to you just overall?
Well, anytime you have former players that speak on your behalf and speak highly of you, then you made an impact on them. And I think that's what every coach that's in this profession ultimately wants. They want the players that they've coached to speak highly of them and be excited about what they did for them when they were coaching them. And for these guys, and I don't know who all has done that, of course, but I've seen a few. It just means a lot. It means I made a difference in somebody's life, and it's not something they just, walked in here one day and walked out with, but over the course of their career and over the course of their lifetime, they hadn't forgot about Shawn Elliott, and I've done something right in their life. The second part of the question, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when did you kind of spoke about it earlier?
Oh yeah, when did I know? It was very quick. It was very quick. Coach Beamer, maybe Wednesday night or Tuesday night. It was a Tuesday night phone call and another phone call on Wednesday morning, and then that was it. Like I said, I'd always keep up with the University of South Carolina from afar, and when positions would come available, I would kind of see what they were. But like I said, it happened very quickly, and I think Tuesday night and Wednesday morning was when I knew.
Hey, Shawn, Jordan Kay with the State here. I guess the first thing, you've mentioned your family so many times. How tough was that decision years ago to go to Atlanta and leave them here? And And then over the last couple of years, like what did a typical week in your life look like of trying to commute back and forth?
Oh, the decision 7.5 years ago to take the head football job at Georgia State was what I needed to do in my career at that point in time. I needed to leave the University of South Carolina. I needed to go and establish myself as a head football coach, prove to myself and everyone else that I have the ability to run a program, take a program that's a struggling program and build it in something that's to be proud of. And I did that. I think we at Georgia State, they'd never won a bowl game. They'd never had a winning season in FBS, and we had 5 winning seasons. We were 4-1 in bowl games, 5 bowl games in 7 years, and a lot of things right there we did really well, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of it. But the decision to leave my family here was one of the most difficult ever. I thought about my kids. I thought about Columbia was all they knew, their friends, my family, my mom and my dad, everything. So to do that was very difficult, but I knew I was making the right decision for them and for myself at that time. A day in the life, wow, that can get tough, day in the life. So, yeah, Sunday's typical day. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, depending on where my son was in his sports career. If he was playing middle school ball, we would practice in the morning. He would have a game at 5 o'clock. At 12 o'clock, I'd be like, hey, guys, Max playing at 5. I'm out. See y'all. And I would get in the car and I'd drive back here. I'd watch Creighton Middle School play football, my son Max play, and get in the car and drive back to Atlanta that night and be in the for the meetings and the practice the next day. And if it was my daughter, if it was cheerleading for her, then those cheerleading competitions, they last forever, but the actual stunning and cheerleading only lasts for about 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So if it was something that was going on at Irmo High School or wherever it might be, I would show up for 2 minutes and 45 seconds. I'd give her a clap, a hug, and a kiss, and we'd all love one another. And hell, I'd get in the car and drive back to Atlanta. Let's just say I bought a new truck a couple of years ago, and I've got, in 2021, I think I've got 110,000 miles on my truck. So I was back and forth quite a bit. Sometimes I'd come back 2 times during the week. But I do it, and I did it because that was what I was supposed to do. That's what I needed to do, and nothing was going to stop me. I've been coaching the game of football for a long time. I was straightforward with my players and my staff. I told them this was important to me, and I said, you guys can take care of it. I promise you I'm not going to put you in a bad situation because I missed 4 hours here at the office. So it all worked out, and like I said, we had a really good run there at Georgia State. I'm thrilled to be back here with my family and be in South Carolina with the people that I love.
Hey, Shawn.
How you
Good
doing,
to see you
sir?
again. I think what surprised a lot of people was that your spring practice had started and then, you resigned and come back here. What was it like for you to deal with that part of it, talking with Mr. Cobb and then with your players when you made this decision to come back to South Carolina?
Yeah, you set your calendar long in advance, and we had our early spring practice plan just like we had done the year prior, and everything was on go. It was unfortunate. I went into spring practice not knowing that this call was going to be made. I had no indication whatsoever, and we were full speed ahead. It was unfortunate that we'd gotten 2 days in, and that we had to put a halt to it, but there wasn't another way that I could have done it. And we had not tough conversations with the staff and with our players. We had really good open conversations, and I don't think I walked out of there with any one of those guys looking at me and saying why or this. It was more congratulations, hugs, thanks for everything you've done, support you in every way, family's everything, and go be great.
Joe Machika, Gamecock Central coach. Welcome back to Columbia.
How you doing, Joe?
So part of your title is now run game coordinator. Can you describe to us what kind of role you will have with Dowell Loggins in the offense?
Yeah, well, I've only been in the meetings here now. This is just my second day. We're going to sit down, we're going to talk, and we're going to see where the deficiencies are in the run game here. and see what we can do to improve them. If it means adding a couple of things, adding the run game to our personnel that fits the best, then we'll probably do some of that. But as we sit here today, we have not sat down specifically and talked exactly how we're going to do that.
Alan Cole, GamecockScoop.com. Welcome back to Columbia. Excuse me. I don't know how much you've had a chance to talk to players yet or maybe sit down with them, but how much do you know about this roster? How much were you able to kind of keep up with it from Georgia State, from what you're walking into?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about the roster at this point in time. I've just worked with the tight ends this morning just for about 20 minutes an individual. Did have a Fort Jackson workout with them, so I got to see them firsthand, kind of go through the ropes, so to speak. The more I'm here, the more I'm going to understand that and develop a relationship with these guys and kind of know exactly who I got. It's a feel thing. Today as we were running through just drills, I mean, every one of the tight ends, I said, before you go, each rep, I said, before you go, you got to stand up, you got to say your name, you got to say where you're from, and give me something about you, because I want to ultimately know everything I can about these individuals, not just about their athleticism, but about everything that's involved in their life.
Hey, Shawn, welcome back.
Thank you.
With your experience, obviously, as an O-line coach, and the fact that the O-line and tight ends have to work so much together, how much do you envision yourself being involved with the O-line group, too, with a young guy and Lonnie Teasley being there and kind of giving some of your wisdom to that side?
I think any staff works well together and works together in all aspects, whether it's run game, throw game. We all have to work together, and we all have to help each other. I think with me coaching the offensive line for several hundred years before coming back here, yeah, I'm gonna hopefully help Lonnie and help the offensive line, and Lonnie's gonna help me understand a lot of different things. I mean, we're staff, and we work for the University of South Carolina, and I think ultimately we all know what the goal is. That's to be better in every facet, whether it's a run game, throw game, pass protection, whatever it may be. So if he needs anything from me, I'm going to offer it up to him, and we're going to work well together. And it's not about egos, A lot of people in coaching think this thing's about egos, and for me, I don't have an ego. I just stepped down as the head football coach at Georgia State University, become here at University of South Carolina, and I've got zero egos. But I want to help everybody I can help, and I need help in every area. I need somebody to tell me, about these about the stick route, and how we need that run. So I'm going to need people to come to me and offer some advice to make me the best coach I can be. Ultimately, we want to win, and that's the bottom line.
Shawn, obviously you had a very eventful run here at South Carolina the first time. You hear a lot of positives, negatives, that kind of thing. What stands out to you? What do you remember most about your time here at South Carolina before going to Georgia State?
The fans. I mean, the most passionate fan base you can have. That was something that we just didn't have a lot of at Georgia State, the support here in South Carolina is incredible. It's not matched a lot of places across the country, and the love that they have for the Gamecocks and the University of South Carolina is something that you just see. I mean, it's just evident every single day, everywhere you go. Just me coming back here in the last couple of days, I can't go anywhere. I mean, there's Gamecocks everywhere. There's just, and they're so fired up. I mean, they're I don't know if you call it hunger or passion, but they have it, and they've always had it. I mean, since the time I was a small child walking into Williams-Brice Stadium for the very first time, I felt it, and I feel it to this day. And I can honestly tell you, when we walk in for that spring game, it's going to be there, and then for that home opener. But it's the fans, and there's so many other things that I can talk about. My experience here before was incredible. There was not a day that I can look back on and tell you there was a day I regretted being at the University of South Carolina. It was fantastic.
Shawn, also while you were here, you got known for a pregame running into your offensive lineman, bouncing on. Do you plan to do that with the tight ends? Have you already introduced them to that?
I said I was 30 years old, but I'm actually 50, so I've gotten a little older, and some of those bumps and scrapes and those start to hurt a little bit more these days. But there's a lot of days that I wake up on game day and I just don't like a whole lot of things, and I have to get some of that energy out, and I can't do it with a jog. I can't do it with. So sometimes I have to take that energy and I have to push it towards others, and sometimes they need a wake up call. So if there's a time where I see somebody needs to, needs it, then I'm here to give it to them. Thank you all very much. Glad to be back home.